Are you ready? Did you light the candle? Okay, let's start the ritual. Welcome to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This is a space where truth gets its voice back because shame loses its power when we speak to it. Here, we don't skip the hard parts. We sit with them and we learn to hold ourselves inside them. This podcast is ritual in audio form, a way for us to bring intention and intuition back into our everyday. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I am sitting in a new position that I've never recorded the podcast in. If you're watching the video, maybe you can tell. I'm sitting at the tea ceremony table, and we have the community altar behind me, and I love sitting here. I sit here pretty much every day, whether it's before the day starts, just having a moment to myself to ground and set my intentions, or in between offers when I'm needing to just center and reconnect, or when I'm holding tea ceremonies, or really any of the ceremony and rituals. We tend to be at this table at some point, depending what the offer is. So I'm here in this spot quite often, and it's one of my favorite places to be, to process and integrate and connect both with myself and others. But I've never recorded a podcast here, so fun. And I'm coming on here because I just have some thoughts on my mind. This is a solo episode, obviously. And yeah, I have some things that I thought I would share. And at the core of it, they all connect to living intuitively wild and what that actually means and how to embody that in our day to day. Because I think it's something, as I've talked about before, that people don't think that is for them, and I think it's very easy for people to think that living intuitively is for psychics and mediums, and living intentionally is for people who live off grid or have the finances for that, or monks living in caves or whatever. And that's just not true. That is one of my biggest intentions with Intuitively Wild, is to show people that this kind of lifestyle can be for everyone. You can live intentionally, you can live intuitively, you can live connected to yourself, you can live a really present, full, alive life, no matter who you are or what you're doing or where you live. And I yeah, that's something that has been interesting for me to navigate since opening my studio. Is people don't necessarily think that this space is for them. I think that they can think it's to make assumptions that it's too spiritual or woo-woo, or just don't place themselves in this bucket, or just don't think that they have the time. They just want coffee and then to go on their way. And a lot of the first few months of opening have been explaining to people and educating people about what this space is, who I am, what I'm doing, and why it's for them. Like, no matter who, I am not for everyone. This space is not for everyone, but I do think it has something for everyone. There can be a space for everyone here. And I'm not here to, you know, shapeshift and try to like mold myself so that I can hold everyone. I just think that it can. Like, I think that everyone could use a moment with tea by themselves. Everyone can use a offer like healing through conversation, where we talk about anxiety or grief or navigating mental health struggles or building community. Like, everyone can use that. Everyone can use a space where they can come and immediately enter and feel calmer and just sequester away into a corner for a moment and journal. Like, we all need that, whether we think it or not. And I'm really passionate about that. I just want to make sure my mic is working. I also just recorded this whole thing, and my mic was not working. So this is take two, but it's probably for the best, because honestly, I was all over the place. I feel more streamlined now. It was helpful, I guess, to record that all. Anyway, so yeah, and I've learned so much since opening and in these first few months of business. But one of the biggest lessons that I'm not learning for the first time, but definitely being reminded of and learning in a new way and being pushed to embody in a new way is the importance of tuning out the noise and staying connected to yourself. The world is so noisy. This is not news. This is not the first time I'm saying it, but the world is so noisy and it's only getting noisier and it's only getting easier and easier to disconnect and give our power away to someone else. And it's only getting more and more important for us to take that power back and stay really present and intentional about who we want to be and the life we want to live and the decisions we are making. So important. So important. And it requires an extra level of presence because we don't only need to disconnect from the noise. We also, like externally, we also need to disconnect from the noise internally, like the autopilot or the like the natural inclination to just do what we've always done and think that just because one thing worked for us in the past means it will continue to work for us because the world is changing and it's asking different things from us. And also, we're always changing and we're constantly going through different seasons and chapters of our lives. And we need to be really aware of what changes are being asked from us and how we need to show up differently and who we're becoming and what that means. Um, and it's it's kind of scary how easy it is to never take a moment to filter through the noise and listen to ourselves. Um, we're constantly taking things in, whether that's through podcasts or music or the news or books or seeking external advice or social media or could go on and on and on. And I think it's so important for us to take stock of the intake we are intaking in all areas of our lives. Again, whether that's media and noise, or whether that's places we go to, relationships we have, the job we have. Like it's so important for us to take stock of everything in our life and kind of understand how it's impacting us and also why we go to those places. Like what are we seeking when we seek external validation? What are we seeking when we desire to be disconnected, when we go to um, numb out or fall into autopilot mode or want someone else to make the decisions for us or have the answers for us. Um, for me, it's at least once a day, someone tells me something I should be doing, usually related to work, um, something I should be doing better or differently, or ways that I can, their advice on marketing or explaining things, or them being confused about what I'm doing and telling me I shouldn't be doing it or it won't be successful, or, on and on and on. And it's really easy for me to fall into, oh, they have the answers. They know. Or oh, my way clearly isn't working, so I should look to outside advice. Um, or to just doubt myself. And it's also so easy to go to podcasts and constantly fill up my extra space with podcasts and looking for advice and more information. And I love to learn. So I succumb easily to the podcasts because I love constantly learning and constantly feeling like I'm growing. And it's just so much noise. And for me also it tricks my brain into thinking I'm constantly being productive. And sometimes when I'm in silence, I'm like, oh, I'm wasting time. That silence is so valuable. Nothing opens me up to ideas and inspiration and messages and knowings like than space and silence. And I think we all need to, like I was saying, write down. I think this is my assignment to you, my ritual for you. Write down all the things you fill your time with, all of it. And all of the ones that feel like they're disconnecting you, and all the ones that you feel like are connecting you. And also write down the times, your moments of vulnerability when you seek those moments of disconnection and why. And write down also how much empty space you have in your day. So not only the moments of connection when you're, doing something, but also those moments of connection where you're just with yourself, those rituals where you take a walk in silence in the morning, or lie down on the floor after a long meeting, or cook in silence, or, it could be anything. But take stock of how many rituals like that you have in your life. Because for many people, there's absolutely none. It's just one thing after the next, after the next, after the next. We're constantly filling our space with doing and noise and intake. And the problem with this is that we're also in that constantly giving away our power. We're constantly looking for others for validation and advice and control. Like we want answers, we want clarity, we want someone else to tell us what to do. And newsflash, no one has the answers. No one has the answers. And again, track what moments cause you to seek those answers, especially when you're seeking them externally, and start to figure out ways that you can restrain from giving your power away. Because we all give our power away in big and small ways, whether that's, shape shifting so that we'll be liked, whether that's not following our dreams because we're worried we'll fail, or whether that's letting our mom decide what job we take, or not going on that trip because our friends won't come with us. We all give our power away in some way. And those are just small examples. There are also big ways we give our power away. And we, it, I don't like the word, I've said this before, I don't like the word discipline. I have history with the word discipline. I used to really be praised for my discipline. It was something I was really known for, and that caused a lot of harm in my life for the way that I used that discipline. And so I've shifted that word for me from discipline to devotion. And really focus on what I'm devoting myself to. With that being said, it takes a lot of discipline to tune out the noise. It takes a lot of discipline for me to say, your advice is not is not needed here, and I'm going to stay true to myself. It takes a lot of discipline for when strangers walk into the studio and tell me how confused they are about what my work is, and how I should be doing things differently, to just smile and nod and say, thanks. And then continue to follow my heart, and to continue to follow my intuition, continue to listen to myself and trust my own decisions. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to be devoted to myself. And if there's one thing I hope, it's that Intuitively Wild can help people stay devoted to themselves. And I think it's the place where that discipline can come in a softer way, because if you show up here for the different offers, you'll find that sense of connection and devotion. But I don't need to go through that whole spiel. I will give an example, though, of something fairly recently that happened to me. Um, I usually do not go to other intuitives or readers for advice. I do have wonderful friends who do readings, and it's fun sometimes to tap into their work, and I really trust them and they know me very well. So that's another layer. I also really, really value my teacher, who I'm currently working with, who I have been for a little while now, and her intuition and the way that she helps me connect to mine. But I notoriously have not had good experiences when going to other kinds of readers or intuitives, specifically ones that I don't know, and specifically ones that I am seeking concrete answers from. I'm going to them because I want them to tell me what to do or give me some sense of control, really. And the feedback I've gotten from any readers or intuitives I go to, whether that's a psychic or a Reiki healer, um, is that I'm very hard to read and very hard to work with and very hard to do energy healing on, not because of anything I do or my personality, although maybe, who knows, but just because of my energy. Like I think I am very I mean, I could do a whole psychoanalysis on myself, but I just have certain boundaries. I have certain connections to myself that I think other people can find it hard to tap into. I'm very grounded in my own energy. That's in my human design. It's also just, you know, who I am. Anyway, and so I think often people are kind of grasping onto things when they work with me. And for that and several other, many other reasons, the readings have never landed. And none of the timelines that they've lined out for me have ever been accurate. None of the readings have ever felt true or supportive. Um, and I almost always just have to kind of like brush them off and walk away and come back to myself, really. But I had and so because of that, I've kind of just stopped going to readings and readers. Also, another reason I've stopped seeking external support in that way is because I'm really trying to strengthen my own intuition and my connection to that knowing. And it's also something that I've been honing with my work with my teacher. And as I deepen into my own work at Intuitively Wild, whether that's connecting one-on-one with someone or holding space in ceremony or just talking to someone um, and offering support in any way I can when they enter regulate open hours. Like I just um, am always trying to stay clear and connected to myself so I can show up as best I can, whether that's for myself or others, and um, really trust the words that come out of my mouth. And so I've been doing my own process of distilling and tuning out the noise, and whether that's not going to a reader or turning off the podcast, because again, like I said, I am susceptible to always be listening to a podcast. And I think that we need to have more silence. This is a side note. And so maybe that means turning off this podcast. Like that's allowed, that's accepted. I encourage that. But anyway, I had a moment of weakness listening to a podcast recently, where the podcaster was interviewing a Vedic astrologer who came highly recommended and had years of experience. And Vedic astrology is something I am interested in, but don't know as much about as Western astrology. But I've had one Vedic astrology reading in the past, and it was fine. Honestly, I don't remember it that much, which means that it was better than some other readings I've had. So yeah, it piqued my interest. And Vedic astrology is known for predicting timelines and having like that sense of certainty around things. Um, so that in and of itself, I should have shut myself down. But, I was like, you know what? Life is crazy. I would just really love to have some sort of support in that way. So I caved, I gave in, and I went to the reader. And you know what? I shouldn't have done it. After the reading, I truly was like, I regret that. And I'm not a person who regrets things. I don't believe regrets are worth the time or energy. And for me, yeah, I really don't regret anything. And if anything, it's just like, okay, that was a lesson. Like I just needed that lesson. And that's where I've landed now. But for a couple days after the reading, I was like, wow, I just like really regret that. Like I've never regretted anything more in my life, which is a drastic statement, but also just because like I don't have regrets in general. So, but anyway, she s- said everything like it was fact, like she was reading me facts, like this is what's going to happen. Um, and also went on to give me opinions and advice based on my chart that did not feel true to me. And a lot of them were projections and assumptions that if she knew anything about me, she would know were not helpful or not accurate. And she also just gave me timeline predictions that made were not what I wanted to hear. And so after the reading, and I wrote a Substack about this, so if you want to hear a little bit more details, you can read that. But after the reading, I felt frustrated and angry and honestly violated. Um, and at first, I was really fighting with my emotions because I was like, you're just being too sensitive. Like, you just wanted her to tell you what you wanted to hear. And it's fine that she didn't do that. Like, it's her job not to do that. And, you know, clearly she's right. She knows what she's doing. Like, you just need to suck it up and, like, just trust. And you have no right to be upset and blah, blah, blah. And, it's a good thing I had therapy right after. But it really took me a couple of days to of every morning journaling and processing and kind of sitting with myself and letting myself feel my emotions and trying to understand them and what was really coming up for me. And then landing in this place of no, like fuck that. Like who is she to tell me what my life is? And who gave her that power? I did. I gave her the power to tell me my truth and to tell me what's going to happen for me and to, you know, have authority over my life. And I'm cutting that power line off. Like she no longer has that power. It's over. And again, that I had to have a lot of trust and confidence in myself to do that and then to come back to myself. And who knows if her predictions are accurate? I guess time will tell. And the truth is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that her opinion holds no sway over my life. I get to show up every day connected to myself, as true to myself as possible, make decisions from my intuition and what I believe is right for me, and then trust the rest to fall into place, and I'll see what happens. I will see what happens. But I have no business giving over my power to someone else and seeking external validation and seeking control and seeking certainty. That's not what this human life is about. And it didn't feel I know she did it because she feels like it gives some sense of support and reassurance, but it didn't feel that way at all to me. It didn't feel that way at all to me. It felt, I felt violated. And I guess I had to like let that go because I gave her permission to do that. But I had to remind myself that But it not only didn't give me any clarity or certainty or support, it felt like it like sucked the life out of me. Like whimsy is a word for me right now, and that was before it became a trend. Like don't it's kind of crazy to me because I'm like so not in the social media world in that way, and I just like fell in love with the word whimsy and like that energy, and then it starts like saw and heard that started becoming a trend. I'm like, that's so weird. Like there's so something to this like collective energy that's just around us that we tap into. That's a whole other tangent. Um, but yeah, I'm really trying to embody whimsy and play and childlike joy and confidence. And her predictions like sucked that out of me. And so for me, I had to choose to believe, because we really make meaning of things. We get to decide what things mean. We decide the signs and symbols, and that's part of connecting to our intuition. And my intuition was screaming at me, this is just a reminder to stay connected to yourself. This is a reminder to clear out the noise, to turn away from the external shit and listen to yourself. Trust yourself to show up in each moment how you need to. And that is my advice for you, to tune out the noise and trust yourself to know that you have the answers. And anyone who is out there who tells you that they have the answers for you, or that they have authority over you, even if they're doing it in the most subtle or small ways, turn away from them. Tell them no. Like, truly place a hand on your heart and say, no, it's me. I have the power and authority over my life. I get to make my own decisions. I get to trust myself. I get to walk forward with discernment and connection, and you hold no power over me. And I believe that the best practitioners, the best healers, the best people connect us deeper to ourselves. And again, not to bring it back to Intuitively Wild, it's sometimes helpful for me to think of Intuitively Wild as its own entity, which it is, because then when I boast about it, I don't feel like I'm boasting about myself. But that's what Intuitively Wild is here for. It is a space for you to connect deeper to yourself. Every practice, every ritual, every offer is here to teach you how to be your own authority. Because again, that is what our world needs right now. So I really, really hope that you'll take time to take stock of where in your life you're handing over your power and why, when that happens, what are your vulnerabilities, where you're where you are disconnecting, and where in your life you feel more empowered, you feel more connected, you feel more sovereign, you feel more centered, and how much space you have in your life to process and integrate and be in your own energy. And not just disconnecting from other people, but really clear, really, in your own energy. That's how I'll say it. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'll leave that here for now. I'm feeling really passionate. This is like a core topic and through line through Intuitively Wild in general, but it feels especially important right now because of how our world is, because of where it's going, because of what's happening in my life right now, and a theme that I see showing up in everyone I'm working with and talking to. So I really hope that we can all help each other stay devoted to this intention. I would love to hear what comes up for you, if there's anything that you want to share. And I will see you all next time for more magic. And thank you so, so much for being here. I do want to take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this. It's an interesting journey I'm having over here. And so the support that I'm receiving just means so much to me, and the people who do get it. And yeah, I'm grateful that you're a part of it. So I would love to connect more, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.